new Codex app. So Codex is the coding assistant, the coding platform from OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT. It has been available for a while now inside of their app version. So they have a cloud version of Codex. They've just released a desktop version, and it's going to be on macOS. I have it here, so I'm going to be able to show it to you. We're going to build something together. I'm going to basically kick the tires and try it out myself. I have not played around with it yet, so this is going to be entirely new. So you'll be learning at the same time as me. But just a couple of things about it quickly. So it came out yesterday. The big thing right now is that it is available for free users as well. At the end of December, Google released Anti-Gravity, the best way for people to try out vibe coding, to try out AI coding without necessarily having to pay anything, because Anti-Gravity is free to use and it gives you free access to Claude, Gemini, and GPT OSS, the open source version. For the last couple of months, I've been saying, if you want to learn to vibe code, go and use Anti-Gravity. That has been my recommendation. Now we have Codex available on macOS, the application, and it looks like, one, it's available for free users, and two, the rates have been increased. So here we go. To celebrate the launch, we doubled all rate limits for paid plans for 2 months and added access for free and go. So if you are paying, you're going to get a lot of usage out of this. We're going to test it out in a moment, see what the limits are like. And if you're not paying, it is also available for you. If you're on the go plan, the intermediary between paying $20 a month and paying nothing, you will have access as well. So this is currently only Mac OS. This is what it looks like. I've managed to get it working on my screen. Hopefully it won't cause too much difficulty. If you're on TikTok, you can only see my Codex. On YouTube, I'll be moving back and forward between, or trying to move back and forward without showing you my horrible desktop covered in images, between my browser and Codex. So let's quickly look at what Codex is, and then we're going to hop in and build something. And I'll show you what I'm actually going to build based on a tweet I saw from Andrej Karpathy. He said, where was it? I'm finding myself going back to RSS and Atom feeds more recently. There's higher quality long form and less slop that's intended to provoke. So getting off Twitter, basically. Any product that happens to look a bit different today and that has fundamentally the same incentive structures will eventually converge to the same black hole at the center of gravity. We should bring back RSS. It's open, pervasive, hackable. Download a client, e.g. NetNewsWire or Vibecode one. So RSS feeds have been around since the beginning of the internet, basically, allow you to tap into blogs, newsletters, etc. You can pull feeds from sources that you find useful. I personally use Newsnet Reader, which is one that Karpathy talks about. What's it called? Newsnet Reader? It's been around for about 20 years because Google Reader got killed. There hasn't been a good alternative apart from NetNewsWire. We need to focus on high quality material. You should code your own RSS feeder. I've set up a project called RSS Reader, and we are going to build something together in the new Codex. Codex is a coding agent that's been around for a while, and it's pretty good. It has not taken over from Claude Code, which I use for everything, but it is a decent contender. Interestingly, ClaudeBot was built entirely in Codex, and the creator of ClaudeBot rates Codex above Opus. With the Codex app, you can multitask, work with multiple agents in parallel, and keep agent changes isolated with work trees. Cool, we like that. Create and use skills, very cool. Package your tools and conventions into reusable capabilities. Set up automations, delegate repetitive work to Codex with scheduled workflows in the background. Oh, that's interesting, because this is one of the big use cases of ClaudeBot, being able to set up an assistant that's always working for you in the background. These automations basically do what a lot of people want to get out of ClaudeBot. A lot of the kind of boring but useful stuff is just automations. It's a cron job. It's something that triggers at a certain time, runs a process, delivers results. Most functional uses of ClaudeBot, the useful kind of business applications, are that. And if you can get this functionality without having to go through the very risky process of getting ClaudeBot up and running and secure, then this could be a contender. The Codex app is available today on macOS with Windows coming soon. They say that, but they always deprioritize Windows and it always takes forever. For a limited time, Codex is available through ChatGPT Free and Go. So free users can use this as well. And we're doubling rate limits for Plus, Pro, Business, Enterprise, and Edu users across the Codex app, command line interface, IDE extension, and cloud. Awesome. So we are going to jump in and have a look at it. Rate limits are doubled. They're holding a town hall, I think it's later today, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So if you have any questions that you want to take to Sam Altman and everyone else, we'll go there. although a lot of the questions already are you going to build a Claude bot? Are you going to build a Claude bot? Build a Claude bot, please. Let's hop in and have a look at Codex. I'm going to jump over to some questions. Morning, Lyra. How are you? We're testing Codex today. Claude is OG, hard to beat. Claude Code is very good. Whether Codex or this new Codex app is good enough to beat it, tricky. ChatGPT has a huge user base, pushing in on 1 billion users. 900 million was the last confirmed. This is opening up AI coding to more people. Great. This is the Codex app. I've created a project called RSS Feeder. They're calling them threads here. I can add a new project and it will connect it to a folder on my desktop. I can I'm going to start the basics. I can connect it to GitHub here. So I haven't done that yet. GitHub is basically cloud storage for your project. You should definitely add it onto GitHub. GitHub is free to use, at least in the basic, and it will allow you to push your project from something like Codex into GitHub, and it allows you to keep all of the versions. So if you needed to roll back to a certain version, you could do that. Or if you wanted to work on a feature which doesn't affect your main software, but maybe you want to tinker around with a feature you want to add, you can branch off and create that new feature. And then when you are ready, you can merge that into your main branch. That allows it to be usable by your users. We use GitHub for storage and version management. It's useful if you have multiple people working on your project because you can work on the same project at the same time without conflicts. We can connect it to GitHub. I've also got an open button here. It's allowing me to take my project out of their new application into Cursor, which I use personally, Windsurf, Anti-Gravity, Finder, Terminal, and Xcode. Xcode is for if you are building Mac applications, especially if you're building an iOS app. You might want to build the basics here and then export it into Xcode and finalize it for publishing on the App Store. So that is built in right here. Very cool. And it's also got Cursor and Anti-Gravity. Anti-Gravity is Google. Cursor is its own thing. Windsurf. Who owns Windsurf now? God, who bought one? Someone bought Windsurf and I'm blanking out. Was it Meta? Cognition. Cognition bought Windsurf. I knew somebody had. So you can send to all these different IDEs. You can send it into Terminal, etc., etc. So they're not locking it into one system and saying you can't play in these other systems. They're allowing you to move between. I think that's smart and that's very useful. So what we've got, new thread. So a thread here is like a chat. So this is one project in my RSS reader project, and it's going to have multiple threads, so I'll have different conversations about it. They have folders for our chats. That's one of the big problems with ChatGPT, not having folders. So we can do that with our project. We can start a new, make sure it's in a particular project. We're in the RSS feeder. We have automate work by setting up scheduled tasks. This is very cool. So this is, let's have a look at the interface, prompt, etc. Okay. So you just give it a basic prompt and then this will run in the background. Now I can see this being valuable depending on what you're building. Very cool. And then we have skills. Oh, we have a bit of a bug. It's unable to load the recommended skills, but this allows us to create and install third-party skills. However, their skills marketplace seems to be broken. Not a great start, but that's fine. Let's see. New skill. Oh, this is for creating a skill. We're not going to do that yet. Let's hop into our RSS reader and create a new thread. So we're in a thread chat. I'm not going to commit it. I've got a diff panel here. I've just created it. Oh, what is this? It's from another project. Why is that showing up? Hopefully that won't get in the way. We have the model selection, Codex Medium, Codex High, Codex Extra High. Codex is a fine-tuned model, the version of 5.2 that has been tuned for coding. So that's what we're going to use. They have medium, high, and extra high. Let's stick it in high for now. They also have GPT 5.2, 5.2 high, 5.2 extra high, and more models. What do they have? God, the naming of these things. So all of GPT 5.1. Okay, we're going to ignore them. So we'll stick it in, we'll stick it in high for now. Whenever we start a project like this, we'll chat about what we want to build before we rush it in. Normally I would do this over in Claude. I'd spend a long time working out the scope, what we need to build, stages, steps, etc., and then bring that over into Claude Code to work on it. I'm going to keep this lighter. I'm just going to say, let's say, I want to build, actually, can we use my microphone because that's even easier. I want to build an RSS feeder that I can deploy as a web app to pull in my various RSS feeds and then tag certain articles as ones I want to discuss on my live show every morning. A way to pull in information, filter it, sort it, and tick it as covered this. This is something that I've created content on. It will initially be a web app, but I would like to at some point develop it into an iPhone app. So we're not going to do that as a primary concern, but that should be something which we can extend to in the future. Before we get started, I don't want you to rush off. I want you to ask me some clarifying questions, and we're going to put together a project plan together. And then once we've done that, we can get cracking. Thank you. So being able to dictate makes it a lot easier. So I am not going to touch any code. I'm not going to write any code. I haven't even specified what we're building it in. I've said we're building a web app, so it'll probably work it out for me. And then I said I want to build an iPhone app later, but I haven't specified anything technical. So it sounds like a great practical project. Happy to pair with you on it. Before we plan, here are a few focus questions. So I'm just going to answer these using the microphone. Okay, I'm going to answer your questions, but I'm going to repeat them just for my clarity. So primary users, is it just for you, or should we design for multiple users / auth in the future? Initially, just for me. Hobby projects, no users, no auth. Second question, feed scale. How many RSS feeds do you expect to ingest at launch? How frequently should we refresh them? We are going to ingest 50 RSS feeds, but we don't need to hard code them in. We're not going to launch with those feeds in. I'm going to, once the app is working, how frequently should we refresh them? Every 6 hours. What tags do you want? Custom topics. Do you need bulk tagging? Yes. Depends on how we're doing this. So it's primarily for me to process data. So I process articles from RSS feeds into my live shows. I want it simpler. Let's make it like Tinder. I just want to swipe left for yes, I'm going to discuss this, or swipe right for no. It allows me to go through a set of feeds, all the stories, and be like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no. So we don't need tagging. Let's just do it for yes and no. And then we will need a form of tagging for I have covered, this was covered on the show, for organization. Let's do that instead. That'll be fun. 4, show workflow. Do you want a morning rundown, view, or export? Great question. Didn't think about this. I would like a rundown, yes. Once I've node, break them into a list. Ideally one where I can sort the order, make them draggable entries, change the priorities, set them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. In terms of the export, I need a web page, and that will do for now. 5, content sources. Are we only ingesting RSS? This is a good question. Yes, I'd like to ingest RSS. I would also love to pull in newsletters and Twitter, as you say. So Twitter and newsletters. YouTube is not important. Any preference for stack? I normally use Supabase and Next.js. We could build this in Firebase. No, I'm going to do that, a Google one. No, you decide for me. Assume I'm a total tech noob and I have no idea what I'm doing, and I want your help choosing these things. Propose one optimized for web now and iOS later. Thank you. Hosting, do you have a platform in mind? Probably Vercel. Cool. I'm not getting into details. I'm not doing any research. I'm just saying let's go for it, and because I want to see how it can do with limited instructions. Normally we'd spend more time planning, but I want to see what it can do. I'm in the wrong folder. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. This is a really fun and focused concept. Let's shape it into a solid foundation you can grow into. I'm going to make this a bit bigger. Quick recap. Single user, no authorization. The reason I'm doing this is it just makes it a bit easier, because as soon as we start to add the ability to have users, different users, we need to set up more stuff in the back end. So we need to allow for username creation, passwords. We need to have the ability to enter email addresses and to send people their authorization via email. So then I need to add an email service. And we need more security. We might want to add Google authorization to sign up using Google, etc. It just adds a lot of work. So we're going to skip that for now. We're going to make it single user just so we can get something up and running. Start with RSS only, add newsletters and Twitter feeds, added manually over time, around 50 total. Refresh every 6 hours. Triage UI, Tinder-Style swipe cards. Swipe left is discuss, swipe right is no. No tagging now, only statuses, yes, no, and covered. Rundown page, list of yes items with drag and drop ordering and priority. Export just a website and hosting on Vercel. And we should build on Next.js, perfectly happy with that. Supabase, perfectly happy with this. This is all stuff I have used before, so it's nice and easy. Vercel cron. So cron job is basically it's a little process, a little snippet of code that's going to run on a timer. So you set a timer to check at 6 p.m, midnight, 6 a.m. and midday, and it will run the code attached to that job at that time. Server-side ingestion, yep, that's fine. iOS ready. We'll build clear API routes so a future iOS app can reuse them. So I'm not going to stress that too much, but build out the application. Maybe one day I'll want this as an iOS app. That's not what I'm going to be building on this live stream, but that is fine for now. So it's given me a draft project plan. So the confirm status isn't exact. Okay. So it's asked me a few more questions. Rundown scope. What should be the default behavior? So I would like oh, that's a really good question. What? Do it automatically. So auto create a list for each date. So it's giving me the option between a daily rundown and a manual rundown, where I click start today's rundown. Just use the date of the articles because the dates act as a little bucket, and that's perfectly fine. Access control. Since it's single user, should we add a lightweight gate? Yeah, sure. You can add a simple passcode page. I'll set up a basic passcode. This is more because I'm doing it live on stream and somebody could hop in and have a rummage around. I'll set a password. This is not a high risk application, so I'm not too worried. I could run it locally on my computer, but I'd rather have it online. Hopefully Codex will ignore that stuff. But there's a risk here that me talking to the live stream and talking to Codex at the same time will create problems, but I think we'll be fine. Gives us clear direction, agreed plan, your decisions baked in, plus 2 details. Confirm, left is discuss, right is equals skip. It's got statuses, new, yes, no, covered. That's good. Access ingestion. All looks fine. Time zone for daily buckets. Clever idea. I'm in London, UK. Use that. Password gate. Yep. A single environment variable is absolutely fine. And I can add that in Vercel for you. No problem. Let's, however, if we can get a local version previewed and running in Codex, that would be great. And then we'll set up Vercel. Then we'll set up Supabase, etc. But I'd love to just get a very basic proof of concept done first, so I can see what that looks like before we worry about the back end, if that works for you. Thank you. So what I'm doing here is for the live stream, but also useful anyway. Instead of building out all of the back end, all of the databases, all of the security, ingestion mechanics, I'm just saying, let's make a basic toy version. I'm going to play around with it, and then I'll be able to give feedback based on that. That's good for the live stream because you guys can see something, because me rummaging around in Supabase is not very exciting. It's not very useful. But at the same time, creating a toy version allows you to see what problems you're going to run into later. Because I might build this toy version and realize the swiping interface just sucks. It's a bad idea for this particular project. So let's drop that and use something else. That's why we're doing it. Strip out all the complication and build me a version. So it's going to do that in the background. While it's doing that, I'll go back to questions because I don't know how long it's going to take. For those just joining, we're trying out the new Codex app on Mac. It is free to use if you have a ChatGPT account until April. You have 2 months to play around with it. They have also doubled the rate if you're on a paid plan. We're putting together a toy project to see if it can produce something for me. Fakan says, what vibe code is that? So this is the new app from ChatGPT. This is Codex. So using they've had Codex Cloud for a while. Codex has existed as a model, but as of yesterday, they have released this new app. It looks pretty powerful. It's also free right now, so go and try it if you want to. Oh, I'm being told by Tony, Tinder is swipe right to left to dismiss. Tells you how long ago it was that I used Tinder. Yeah, you're right. We'll manage. James is saying maybe a Tinder for VC project pitches might be interesting. We can make a Tinder for any kind of information. I'm surprised social media sites haven't started to use more Tinder-like interfaces. It's a good way to say I'm interested, I'm not interested. You could train an algorithm quickly based on that. They watch how long we spend time looking at content, how much we watch a video, etc. But just having a swipe mechanism seems like a nice thing to add to a social media site. Thanks for the clear direction. This is a fun build, and I put together a local proof of concept so you can see the flow. Okay, I'm going to open up Terminal. Can I open Terminal from here? Oh, I can. Oh, I can do it from here. I wonder if it can control the terminal for me. Let me ask. You have terminal access. Can you run it? So terminal, this thing at the bottom is, if you ever use DOS or anything like that. Oh, I think it's doing it. It looks like this. It's often a barrier if you are new to vibe coding and new to AI coding. As soon as you need to write this stuff into terminal, for a lot of people, that's what I thought we weren't doing this code stuff. That's why Lovable is great, because Lovable would have given me the preview. It'd be like, boom, here you go. So Codex is saying, okay, I've built this for you, but now you need to run it on your local host. Write in Python 3 to set up this local host server. However, a lot of people will run this and it's going to say, oh, you don't have Python 3 installed. And then they're in a process of, oh God, what does that mean? It looks intimidating. It acts as a barrier for a lot of people on Codex. I was hoping it would just be like, here you go. I tried to start the local server, but the environment won't keep a background process alive and the server needs to bind. I can't keep it running within Codex. The easiest way is if you run it locally. Okay, let's see if we can do it here so I'm not juggling windows. If you want, I can try running it in the foreground, or we can jump to the next scaffolding. Okay, it has set up. Is it just password? The password. I wasn't paying attention. What's the password? The passcode is passcode. Now, if you are on Twitter, you won't be able to see this because I'm not able to share that screen. If you're on TikTok, you won't be able to see this. So hop over to YouTube so you can see all of my screen. Set config as passcode. Oh, this demo. Sorry. This is what happens when you are also live streaming. I'm in. Left is discuss, right is skip. So I can go, boop. Nice. Creators push for better revenue. I don't want that one. Get rid of that. Creators, same one. Get rid of that. Streaming platforms test new discovery. I don't know why this is showing me the same thing again. So I'll click skip. Okay. So the basic idea works. So let's see if we did, left is discuss. So, I quite like that. This is cool. Let's put them all in and then drag them. Then I'd be able to, ideally, and tick that as covered. Ideally, I'd be able to open up the content from here. We'd have the rundown. When we go to the live show, I'll have a different interface where I have the rundown on the left and then I'll have the content on the right. And it allows me to go through step by step. Okay, we've got the basics done. The design's nice. I quite like that design. Vibe coding tools have this thing about gradients. We have a cream gradient on the left into a green. At least it's not purple. Purple gradients are a vibe coding thing. But that is okay. I'm all right with that. So I'm going to say to it, cool, let's push ahead with the creation. Let me see if I can run it in the foreground and get it on the screen for TikTok. Try running it in foreground. I don't know what that's going to do. The limitation is I can't preview directly in Codex. That is not the end of the world. And if you're comfortable with code, if you're comfortable with running localhost, getting it onto a server, this is no problem at all. If you're coming to vibe coding for the first time, this will be like, what the hell are you asking me? The easiest way is to run it locally. Just bash Python 3-m http.server 8000. And you're like, what? Now, if you do run into something like that, you can say, I don't understand how to run this locally. You can say to the AI, I don't know what you're talking about. You can work through these issues. There we go. Totally fair. Open terminal. Paste this and enter. Press enter. Let's see if it works. Python. Okay, hit an error. It's already in use. So what I'll actually do is put it on 8001. There we go. That worked. And then go to your browser. So you go over to, let's do 8001. There we go. And then this is demo. So that does work. So it's given me instructions about how to do it, and those instructions work. So I'm happy with that. Let me kill that process. So if you run into problems with vibe coding, ask the AI how to use the AI. I'm a little disappointed they don't have a local preview. That's what makes Replit, Base44, and other vibe coding apps easier for people to use. And this means that this is still going to be for people who are coders, but it's a step in the right direction. Okay, that's working. It looks great. What are the next steps? We've built our proof of concept. We built a quick demo. Did it pretty fast. You'd be able to do this on the free account. I'm happy so far. So that's awesome to hear. It's a great sign the flow already clicks. The next step depends on how fast you want to get real data versus polishing the UX. Lock the UX. Great. Sounds good. One quick thing. I got the Tinder swiping wrong. It is right for yes and left for no. So if we could reverse the swipe order, that would be awesome. X is fine. What I'd like to do is once we have locked down the content for the day, I want a different view. Content we're covering appears on the left of the screen, and then a preview or even the full content can be opened on the right of the screen, which allows me to have a running order on the left and the rundown on the left, and then on the right hand side to have the actual content. Because right now the cards don't do anything. It's just a list of headings, which is not going to help me. So I'd like to pull that in. So that's going to be part of our RSS functionality. Lock the apart from that, that's fine. We need a second screen for new content. Do you want to cover it or not? And then we need a second for here's today's rundown and a preview. And that's where we'll check like I've covered rather than on the first screen. So scaffold the real app. Yep, that's fine. You can build it in Next.js. Add a real data model. Could we do this locally for now? I want to, one, keep it as proof of concept, and I don't want to start setting up tables yet. And two, I'm doing this on a live stream, so I want to keep this lightweight so we can show what Codex can do, rather than me having to dig into the guts of setting up a super base table. It's better for the live stream. Bear that in mind. Later, off stream, I'll get it done properly. RSS ingestion tab, that's fine. Just have a simple ingestion. I'm going to give you some RSS feeds, pull the last 5 items, and that'll be fine. Deploy in Vercel, again, we'll do that a bit later. Let's continue in proof of concept for now, but you go ahead and we'll run it locally for now. Thank you. Cutting corners because we're doing it on the live stream and I want to show what we can do. And me doing the super base stuff and the Vercel stuff is not very interesting. It's better not on stream because it's not very visual and it's not very exciting. And there's also security issues for me because once I go into my back end and you can see my setup, it's risky and I'd need to work out how to blur things. So while it's doing that, I'm going to scroll back and see if there's any questions. Cowork was released on Windows but can't get it linked to Chrome. Did it just come out? Because I know they were on Mac first. So Cowork, Claude, or was it always on Windows? Sorry. So Cowork is available using Claude desktop app on macOS. Have they put it on Windows too? Confirm Windows support is in active development with a target release of mid-2026. All of these AI companies release for Apple first, probably because they're all Apple users. Plenty of developers on Windows. That's complete nonsense. That's going to take a little while. I don't have any questions. Later today, 4 p.m. Pacific time, OpenAI are doing a town hall. Last time they did one on YouTube, they turned the comments off, which is not very open. It's the opposite of open. They told us about it. They say we want feedback to start building a new generation of tools. This is an experiment, a new format. Maybe this time they are opening it up to questions. Same reply to questions and we'll answer as many as you can. And most people are saying, hey, when you make a Claude bot, build us a Cowork and a Claude bot, please. Does OpenAI plan to ship its own Claude bot? The fact that this has automations will allow for some of the jobs of Claude bot to be done. I mean, we've been able to do automations for a while using Zapier, N8N, various tools, but making it easier, putting it into the hands of more people is really useful. The automations in this Cowork app might do what people are doing with Claude bot. Less exciting, less sexy, the less dangerous stuff, but the actual useful stuff is primarily just automations. But the other questions are, what's this one? Why is OpenAI so focused on long asynchronous workflows? Is it a technical limitation or a design choice? The difference between Codex High and Claude Code often means I use them for different tasks because of the unique user experience of chatting and waiting, despite preferring GPT 5.2 and how much it searches. So what he's talking about here is the fact that this is taking a long time. It will go off and do its own tasks, but it will take 10-15 minutes, which is terrible for my stream. However, this is fairly anecdotal, but generally Codex will get things right the first time. So you set it up, give it 10-15 minutes, it goes off and does its own thing, brings you back something, and generally it's good. Generally it's a high result. It just takes a long time, which means you have a lot of dead time. I could start up other threads, building other features. I'm not going to do this here because it's a relatively simple application and I haven't set up GitHub. With Claude Code, it tends to work faster and you can keep iterating. Generally, you're not waiting more than a couple of minutes, whereas Codex will happily go and work for 10-15 minutes. So Nick is asking, why is that? Is it just because your models are slow? Or is this intentional and it's about an asynchronous workflow? We have other people laugh. Skits are laughing because it's not as good as Claude Code, I assume. Something about 4.0. So 4.0 is being deprecated. In 10 days, 4.0 will no longer exist on the chat app, which I know is upsetting. I hope you're taking feedback on stopping the routing. I don't even know what you've done to 4.0 or 4.1. None are working properly. Unfortunately, I don't think David Stark knows they're about to be deprecated, so he's going to be unhappy. There we go. Here, another person saying we have no plans to saying on October 28th, you said we have no plans to sunset 4.0. 23 days later, you announced the deprecation plans for GPT 4.0 latest. How can builders trust your roadmap when you change that fast? Will you commit to a 2025 4.0 snapshot to restore stability? Let's see what people are saying. People getting angry about that. If you're asking for genuine feedback, the crucial one, professional tools require stability and user autonomy. The current safety router creates an unpredictable environment that undermines utility of your most capable models. So the routing issue was a really big deal back with ChatGPT or GPT-5, where you had no idea which version you were getting. You'd put in a request and sometimes it would come back and it was lobotomized. And you're like, what is this? Because it's like using GPT-3. And sometimes it would come back with an absolute masterpiece and you had no control over what that was, because they were trying to unify the model into just GPT-5 and allow you to not have to worry about the model, but you'd always use the right model for the task. They introduced different thinking models and you could choose again. They went from one model and it proliferated. Using something like Codex, you can choose different models: medium, high, extra high, and then in more models you can even get Codex low. I don't know why you would. That's probably going to be faster. Codex and all of 5.1 models. They went from having, or trying to have one model, GPT-5, to suddenly again a proliferation. And if you're on the pay plan, you can access 4.1, 4.0, 4.2, etc., etc. Victor Saw says, can I use Codex on Windows? The new app, the one that we're playing around with now, no. It came out yesterday on macOS. However, you can use Codex inside of ChatGPT. So there is a cloud version of Codex. There's also a command line version of Codex. What's new, what came out yesterday, is this specific macOS app. Keeps all your threads in folders, allows you to set up automations, plugin skills, etc. It's more fleshed out than the cloud version. I'm not sure if I'll be moving from Claude Code to this. However, this is free for now. So they've opened it up to free users, which is cool. I have no idea what the limits are. The limits might be microscopic. For now, it is free. That's a great next step. I'm glad the proof of concept feels good. Let's keep that momentum. I've scaffolded a lightweight Next.js proof of concept, POC, reverse the swipe direction, and added a second rundown preview screen. So it's done. So what does it want me to do? It wants me to install. That's fine. I'm going to do this in terminal. There we go. I copied all 3 lines, chucked them into terminal and pressed enter. It's able to do them one by one. So that has now got a dev server starting for me, and it's going to be at localhost 3000. Again, if you are on, that's not up yet. If you are on TikTok, you won't be able to see this. Compiling, try. So I'm seeing an error. So all I'm going to do is, because I'm going to be lazy, I'm going to copy that, stick it back into Codex and basically say, hey, it's not working. So I'm giving it the error. So Next.js is outdated. I see the issue. The use effect depends on, depends on undecided was declared before undecided was initialized. So again, there's a lot of code. I've just taken the error code, given it to the AI, and it changed things. We're now going to rerun the dev server. So npm, and it will start it on a new localhost. Not. So I'm being sloppy here. Where did we have this? Okay. So this CD thing here is change directory. It's just moving me into that directory, but we're doing it using the terminal rather than clicking on a folder. It looks complicated, but you're just copy pasting this stuff. There we go. We have 2 pages. One called triage, where the new items appear and I can move them into my rundown. And then I have a second one, which is my rundown, where I can see the rundown for the day and preview the content. Let's pull in an actual, let's get Ethan Mollick, Substack, RSS. Does anyone know, is it just /rss.xml? What's the RSS for Substacks? I should know this. Substack, feed. So it should just be this /feed will give me the RSS. There we go. RSS is a list of all your content. If you have a blog, if you have a newsletter, and you want to syndicate it, you can create a feed like this. You don't need to know what this is or what it looks like. This is just for this particular app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ingest this feed. There we go. So now Ethan Mollick's RSS feed is in my app. I'm going to fetch latest items. No idea if this will work. Imported 5 items. Let's get rid of these example ones. Management as AI superpower. This is from Ethan Mollick. Oh, look, that's cool. I didn't ask for that animation, but that's cool. This is from One Useful Thing, Management as an AI Superpower. I might get pull the image, make it more visible. I'm going to discuss. I've pulled in 5 of Ethan Mollick's articles. Then we go over to the rundown, and it's, oh shit, it worked. I didn't expect it to work so well. And now I have my rundown here, Tuesday the 3rd of February. I can reorder these, and that is working. Yep, that seems to be working. Let's say I want to talk about this one first, giving your AI a job interview. Cool. I now have the whole article here. Got a little bit of a width issue, but I'm fine with that. I now have the article and I can use that for notes. I could potentially prettify this and make it what I actually show on my live stream. That would be cool. I have the article. I could also add a summarize AI button to pull out main points. That would be cool. I don't know what this is. Open the source material, not open source. Okay, so that pulled up the web page. Normally on my stream, I would show the web page like this, which I'll probably still do. But this allows me to have all the things I'm going to talk about in one place and go to the next one, talk about the jagged frontiers, maybe open it up, show it on stream. The RSS feeder works. It pulls in the latest items, so it's not bringing any more in. I would add all of my sources, and I'm going to include Twitter accounts like Andrej Karpathy, for example, Sam Altman, OpenAI. I'd add them all in here. And then each morning I'm going to have the swipe queue, where I can just go through and be like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and then have a daily show rundown. I'll probably also add an archive of the stories as well, so I can go back and look at other ones. There's a lot I can do based on this framework, what I'm putting together today. Now, that's not the important thing. The important thing is I was able to build this in less than an hour. It would have taken a lot less if I was not talking to camera, using this new Codex app. So it's good. I'm happy with that response. I'm happy with what it's built for me. Could I build it in Claude Code? Yeah, 100%. But Claude Code is a little more technical to get started up with, whereas this is just an app you can install. This is not requiring me yet to connect to a GitHub, although you should 100% connect to a GitHub. You can keep a record and save everything. You can also have automation skills, etc. Skills are a bit broken, but that's fine. It is also, most importantly, free at the moment. If you are on the free ChatGPT plan and you have macOS, you can download this and start to play around. If you want to use Claude Code, realistically, it's going to cost you $100 or $200 per month. So that is a lot of money. Whereas we can get started with Codex and start building something. The upside is it's free and it's good. I'm happy with the response. It looks good and it's been able to build a project for me easily. So I'm happy with that. On the downside is the fact that there's no preview panel. That's a nice thing to have, especially if you are not comfortable with AI coding or vibe coding. Having to suddenly mess around with the terminal, potentially you've never used the terminal before, is a barrier for some people. Again, I showed you how we can just ask Codex, like, I don't know what you're talking about, can you help? But even that is asking a lot from the user. Having a preview window would make this a lot better, like the other vibe coding apps. Codex is slow, as Nick Dobos was talking about, or asking in that Twitter thread that we looked at. Codex just takes a long time. That's fine if you've got lots of processes running and maybe they're all running for 10-15 minutes, you come back to them, you check out what they're doing, and then you move on. But waiting for Codex to finish one task, it's a little bit inefficient. So if you are going to be using it, I'd be running parallel projects, parallel threads to get as much out of it as possible. You could also experiment with using high. You could potentially drop it down to medium or low if you're feeling really, you don't need to use the best model just because it exists. I would, for maybe earlier things, like when you were doing the planning, put it in extra high, because you want to take your time, you want to get a really solid plan in place. And then when you're doing simpler things like XCUI, maybe you can drop it down. When you're doing more complicated things about functionality, you put it back up, get a feel for it. If you're happy waiting, that's fine. You can scroll social media or read a book instead of going on TikTok. Pretty good. I'm happy with this. I will continue this project. I'm going to build it out for myself. I'll continue to do it in Codex as an experiment. I could do it in Claude Code, but I think for an experiment and to use Codex more, I'm going to give it a shot. It's also free. If you want to try it out, go into your ChatGPT account, and then on the left-hand side, there will be a button that says Codex, and you'll see this little icon. It will immediately pop up and say, hey, you need to download this. So if you tried to get into the cloud version, I'll show you. If you tried to, here's Codex on the left. Oops. If you try to get into the cloud version, it's immediately going to be like, nah, download the app. You can ignore that and continue to the cloud, or download the app. And I think the app is a little bit more powerful because it has the additional or the easy automations and skills, although I haven't used the cloud version for a while. Maybe they have that too. Right, try it out. Tell me what you think. I will publish this into the newsletter. As always, if you're not on the newsletter, it is aiwithkyle.com. Join the community. You get free stuff, free courses, an AI readiness course, playbooks, a bunch of other courses about how to start giving AI workshops, how to build a business with artificial intelligence. You get the newsletter. There's a community on Circle, which I think has about 15,000 people in it, doing well. And that's all free. So come to aiwithkyle.com and then join the community and you'll get absolutely everything. In the newsletter, I will put together a guide for what Codex is, why you should pay attention, how you can use it. I'll also point to some other AI coding resources to help you get started. I'm also thinking about an accelerator for vibe coding. So taking people from, I have no idea what to do, to building your first applications, building some little toy projects to build up confidence, and then starting to build stuff that's useful for you. And then by the end of the 30 days, building something that could be a business, but taking people from the very beginning, because a lot of people start and they run into things like this. ChatGPT is saying, okay, now just open up the terminal and set up a local host. And they're like, I don't know what that means. I have no idea what you're talking about. And they very understandably bounce off. So I'm thinking about putting together an accelerator where we just work through nice and slowly and get you started building, and then building something you can make money from. That's the key. It's a huge opportunity right now. Make sure you're signed up to the newsletter, and I will see you. Thanks, guys.